Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to add a follower or add someone as a follower to someone on the Leadership Cloud using the Jive REST API. And when we talk about a REST API, we're talking about the programming language that the Leadership Cloud itself uses and interacting with that server using those which are command-based functions. I guess the first place to start would be with this page here, which is the documentation on the Jive REST API, which contains all the different things you can do with it, as well as the these different snippets of code that you'll be using. I've navigated purposely to this person's page because somewhere along here there'll be the code to update a following, so to update someone who's following, and these are the instructions surrounding it. So this is the code, but how do we send that to Jive or the Leadership Cloud? We need some specialist software, and this specialist software is known as a REST client. Now there are several different softwares that you can get, but I like to use one that's an extension of the Firefox browser, and for the purpose of this tutorial that's the one that we'll be using. But to get it, it's simply in your Firefox browser, and then add-ons, and then you'll get add-ons and say search for a REST client. And as you see, there's loads, but the one that I will be using and the one that I do use is this one, this REST client with this logo here. So once you open that piece of software, you'll be presented with this page. So this is what the software you'll be using to access the Jive servers. To start with, we need to authenticate ourselves. We need to log in. And we do that by our authentication tab. If you're using something different, it'll be a different layout, but it should be relatively similar. Basic authorization, and then we've got just our username and password. That's our Leadership Cloud username and password. You will need admin privileges on your account to be able to do this. So you press OK, and that's got us logged in. And then secondly, we just need to set the header, and the header is basically telling the server what programming language we're using, and in this case it's JSON, which is a form of JavaScript. Okay, so that's us connected to the server, and now we need to send some commands to that server, and say what's the command we'll be sending to the server. Well, we have it here. The first thing to note being that it is a put command, the difference being, so there's a post one down there, so you have to set that first, the method being put rather than all the rest. And then to start with, you have the start of the URL. So this is the location of the server, which is to say our normal URL /API/core/version 3. Yeah, and then we're going to take our extra bits of code to update the following, and we're going to add that just on the end of there to make a full URL that we're going to send to the server. Of course, there are some placeholders here that we have to fill out, the person ID and the followed person ID, which are explained again in the documentation. Person ID, the ID of the user you'll be following, and followed person ID, the ID of the user who will be followed. Now we need to get the IDs. So where do we get those from? Well, if we just navigate to our Leadership Cloud and we go to our admin console, and then we go to people, we have a list of all the people on the Leadership Cloud, as well as you can see, their user ID. So I'm going to search for myself. Just grab my user ID, which is 2018, and I'm going to put that in place of this, making sure I get rid of all of that. So that's my user ID, and then now let's find the user ID of the person I want to follow. In this case, we'll find Trevor, and we'll grab his 2010, and we'll put that in there. So now we have a full command to send to the server. My user ID, Trevor's user ID, and the code as followed before. Once you click send, that will send it to the server, and the server will send us a response to say what it did with it. So you press send, it's sent, the server's given us this response, which is 204. If we check our documentation again, we can see that 204 means request was successful. So I am now a follower of Trevor, and that's how it works. So that's all for this tutorial. I've been Douglas Reynolds. Thank you very much.